Hello, this is Leo, and you're watching True Focus News. Today's report covers a tragic event from Gaza, where more than 60 people were killed after Israeli forces opened fire on protesters despite an appeal from former U.S. President Donald Trump urging restraint. The violence has once again drawn global attention to the decades-long conflict between Israel and Palestine. Let's take a closer look at what happened, why it happened, and how the world reacted. Tensions in Gaza had been rising for several weeks. Protests began along the Gaza-Israel border after the United States decided to move its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, a move Palestinians considered a serious blow to their national hopes. Thousands of Palestinians joined what they called the Great March of Return, demanding the right to return to lands lost in the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. While organizers described the demonstrations as peaceful, Israel accused Hamas of using the gatherings to provoke violence. Amid the growing tension, President Trump publicly urged Israel to show restraint and to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. But his call went unheeded. On May 14, thousands of Palestinians moved toward the border fence separating Gaza from Israel. Israeli forces responded with live ammunition and tear gas. Within hours, more than 60 Palestinians were killed, including women, children, and medical workers. Eyewitnesses described scenes of panic and confusion. Ambulances struggled to reach the wounded as smoke and chaos filled the air. Doctors reported treating victims on the floor due to a shortage of beds. One witness said, "People were waving flags, not weapons. We came to protest, not to fight." But on that day, the line between protest and violence disappeared. The Israeli government defended its actions, saying the army acted to protect its borders. Officials accused Hamas of sending civilians, including women and children, toward the fence as human shields. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised the army, stating, "Every country has the right to defend its sovereignty." Human rights organizations, however, condemned the use of live ammunition against unarmed protesters, calling it excessive and unlawful. Despite Trump's earlier warning, Israeli operations continued along the border. The international response was immediate. The United Nations called for an independent investigation into the killings. European leaders expressed deep concern and urged both sides to de-escalate. Protests broke out around the world, from London to Jakarta, condemning the bloodshed. In Washington, the U.S. administration defended Israel's right to self-defense. President Trump reaffirmed America's commitment to Israel's security, though several officials privately admitted concern over the scale of civilian casualties. The incident deepened global divisions and raised questions about Washington's role as a neutral peace mediator. Beyond the political statements, Gaza's humanitarian crisis worsened. Most of the victims were young men, but among them were women, children, and even medical volunteers. One of the most moving stories was that of Raisin al-Najjar, a 21-year-old nurse who was shot while helping the wounded. Her death became a symbol of sacrifice amid chaos. Families buried loved ones in overcrowded cemeteries as hospitals struggled with shortages of medicine and electricity. Doctors worked through the night under dim lights powered by small generators. A father told reporters, "Every few years, it happens again. We lose people, and the world moves on." For many in Gaza, hope has turned into exhaustion. Analysts say this tragedy highlighted the limits of U.S. influence in the Middle East. Despite Trump's direct appeal, Israel acted according to its own political and military calculations. Experts believe that the embassy moved to Jerusalem inflamed tensions instead of easing them, damaging the image of the United States as a fair peace broker. Some commentators called the event a failure of diplomacy and a victory of defiance. Others said it was another reminder that peace without justice cannot last. Whatever the interpretation, one fact remains: Gaza once again paid the heaviest price. Over 60 people lost their lives in a single day. A plea for peace was ignored, and the cycle of violence continues. While political leaders debate responsibility, families in Gaza continue to live with the consequences. This tragedy raises hard questions. Can peace ever be achieved when force replaces dialogue? And how many more lives will be lost before a lasting solution is found? You've been watching True Focus News. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more global stories and detailed analysis, only on True Focus News channel.